Hi. Now I can begin. So this is how I looked, more or less, the last time we had a lot of people here in this building. As you may imagine, it wasn't on Pesach, it was on Purim. And we had plenty of families with young children running all around this sanctuary. As we usually do, we read the Megillah, we organized the costume parade, I didn't win, and we had a lot of fun. That was a Monday evening. By Friday of that same week, the congregation was closed, and we had to begin reinventing ourselves. As you know, we figured some things out. We found ways to keep connected, but the truth is that I miss having all of you here at Shul, and I hope that you will be back soon enough. There is an interesting line connecting Purim to Yom Kippur. At first, it looks like they are on opposite ends of the spectrum. Purim is about eating and drinking and dressing up and celebrating that we were saved from extinction. Yom Kippur, on the other end, is sober. We don't drink, we don't eat, we are not in a joyful mood. Today we say Chatima Tova to each other as we implore God to inscribe and seal us for good in the book of life. And yet, this odd pair of days is linked in many ways. So for example, on Purim we have Haman casting lots to see when to kill us. And on Yom Kippur, we have the priests casting lots to decide which one of the goats should be sent to the wilderness carrying our sins. On Purim, we have Esther fasting before speaking to the king. And on Yom Kippur, all of us are fasting as we pray to God. There are, of course, a couple of other ways to bring these two holidays together. But this particular year, and in addition to all those possible connections, I want to add that on Purim, we traditionally wear costumes and masks, and today on Yom Kippur, we keep wearing masks, as we have done for the last 6 months, although now to protect those we love and care about. To talk about Purim and Yom Kippur is also to reflect upon the ongoing tensions that we all experience when we need to decide between what to show and what to hide, between what to disclose and what to conceal. It is in that tension that all of us are called to think deeply about what is true and what is not, and to identify what is real and what is not only during these important days, but all year round. So, enough of the Purim spiel. Let me go back to normal, kind of. In one Talmudic passage, the rabbis ask the following question: why in the Hebrew alphabet are the letters of the word sheker, or lie, close to one another, while the letters of the word emet, or truth, are distant from each other? Now, today I did my homework. I don't know if you can see this, but this is the Hebrew alphabet. In green, the letters for emet, truth, the beginning, the end, and the middle, and the letters for sheker in red, one next to the other. So the Talmud asks, why is it that the letters for emet are so far apart and the letters for sheker are so close one to the other? The rabbis answer to that is because while falsehood is easy to find, truth is found only with great effort. And then the rabbis ask, why do the letters of the word sheker stand on one foot while the letters of emet stand on bases that are like white bricks? So once again, I did my homework. If you see the letters for the word sheker, they have only one point in which they need to balance. The letters for the word emet, they have two bases. So they are way more steady, which is what the rabbis say. Why the different letters for the two words? Because truth stands and falsehood does not stand. In other words, the Talmud is reminding us that lies have short legs, but they are way more available than truth. And pay attention, because they are not reflecting upon 2020, but it looks like this has been the case since times immemorial. At the same time, there is a midrash, there is a rabbinic text, saying that when God created the world, when God was about to come to the conclusion of creation, God asked the angels whether to create the humankind or not. So, in that sort of board meeting, the angel of kindness said, create them, for they will do acts of loving kindness. To what the angel of truth replied, do not create them, for they will be full of lies. To what the angel of righteousness said, create them, for they will establish justice. To which the angel of peace said, do not create them, for they will be in constant strife. As you see, a tie, oy vey. So what did God do to break the tie? Natal emet ve'ishlicho la'aretz. At that moment, the Midrash says, God grabbed the truth and threw it to the earth. According to the Midrash, when God banished truth from heaven and buried it deep into the ground, the angels were terrified. Ruler of the world, they said, why have you chastised the chief of your court? To which God replied, let truth arise again from the earth. That's the Midrash. I have always found this rabbinic text fascinating because on the one hand, it looks like God is recognizing that the angel of truth is right, that human beings can be full of deception and lies, and yet God took the risk and created us anyway. On the other hand, as God threw the truth to the earth, as God buried the truth in our own backyards, the rabbis seem to be implying that from now on, now that we have been created, it is our responsibility to make truth blossom. From now on, truth depends on us. And if that is the case, then it is up to us to discover what is real and what is not, and to find out what is worthy of our time and commitment and what is not. Particularly this year, I have felt more than ever as if we were in those green rooms that people making movies use all the time. You know, switching between live feed and the recorded videos and things like that. I have to tell people, no, this is live. The Titans won today by 1. It's a miracle. I couldn't record this 3 weeks in advance because who would know that they would win 3 games in a row? That's like a Hanukkah miracle on Yom Kippur. So it's live, but I had to explain that it's not recorded, it's live, but then there are some recorded things. It is tricky. We have done all of this, hoping to create the conditions that will allow you to connect with a moment of prayer. And yet, maybe because I am not an actor, I am not a movie director, I have felt pretty self-conscious about all of this all the time. And that has pushed me to think about the things in my life that are real and about the things that should guide us all as we continue to move forward in the years to come. So let me mention a couple of those things. The first one, the love and commitment for this congregation of all of those who came to record the ark openings, the aliyot, the readings of the Torah, the readings of the Haftarah, all of those things in advance, that love and that commitment is real. The fact that so many of you came, that so many showed up and said, and I'm quoting, "This is the first time in 6 months that I am putting on a suit or a dress," is a testament to your willingness, to the willingness of being part, to support and to sustain what we are trying to do here every day. And the same applies to those who took the time to create some beautiful art for our Rosh Hashanah booklets, and to those of you who drove all over town to deliver the Rosh Hashanah bags. All of that is real, and I want to say thank you. Now, the countless hours that both the staff here and the volunteers here at the Western Synagogue have spent preparing for these high holidays is very real. Things may look seamless, almost as if what you are watching on TV was easy to achieve, but that couldn't be farther from the truth. If things are happening the way they are, that is because a ton of work was put together by many folks who care for this place and who are willing to go above and beyond so that we may remain a relevant and authentic synagogue committed to our own vision and willing to be there for every Jew in town and around, looking to live a meaningful Jewish life in Music City, Tennessee. The gratitude I feel for all of them, for all of you, is real. And I know that we couldn't have done it without you, so thank you as well. But there is more, because Judaism is real. It's real for me and it's real for you, and that is why you are now on a Sunday evening on the other side of the screen, even if feeling weird and funny at times, as you try to get a moment of connection in the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. Judaism and its practices and core values, we know all of those have the potential to instill in us a sense of belonging, a way of behaving, and more than a few reasons to believe in something bigger than our own selves. But for that to happen, we have to step up our Jewish literacy. The biggest threat facing the Jewish people in our days is not assimilation and is not intermarriage, but the lack of knowledge and the lack of practice regarding what is truly ours. And we need to reclaim that. The state of Israel is real as well. Israel is a reality with the sweet taste of a dream come true. Israel is the proof that amazing miracles can happen, but only if people are willing to work for them. And yet, like any other real thing in this world, Israel is a work in progress. Israel is still a young country fighting for its own survival, with plenty of challenges, both internally and externally. in times in which more and more people are feeling disconnected from Israel, we need to redouble our support, but not as a blank check. We cannot afford to cancel Israel because of our disagreements or disappointments, but we cannot afford to praise every single decision that any Israeli government makes, especially, for example, when those decisions threaten the flourishing of different streams of Judaism in the Holy Land. Love cannot blind us, because a love that is blind is a love that ends in tragedy. And we don't want that. What we want is a blooming country that makes room for a plurality of Jewish voices, that serves every one of its citizens, Jewish and non-Jewish alike, with dignity and grace, and that is finally recognized and embraced by its Arab neighbors. Theodor Herzl's words, Im tirtzu ein zo agada, remain as real today as when he said them more than a century ago. If we will it, it won't be just a simple fairy tale. Love is real, and forgiveness is real as well, especially in a day like today. Friendship is real, and books and science and hugs, and so many other things as well. But along those very real and beautiful things, there are other realities that are not so nice, and that we have to recognize if we want to have a chance at changing some of them. So, for example, climate change is real, and we should stop pretending that it will simply go away. The problem with the weather is similar to what we have experienced with the current pandemic. When it was far, far away on the other side of the world, we didn't care much. Some even thought about the virus as a mere flu or as something that will disappear overnight. And then it was too late. So the question is, what are you going to do to tackle climate change? According to research, there are 4 different high-impact things that we can do to help mitigate the crisis. And those are: make a transition to a plant-based diet, avoid air travel as much as you can, live car-free, and have fewer children. So what's your choice? What are you going to do to be part of the solution and not part of the problem? Anti-Semitism is real. And unfortunately, it continues to grow both to the left and to the right of the political spectrum. Whether it is behind the disguise of anti-Zionism, capitalism, or socialism, whether it is a collateral damage of the so-called intersectionality, or whether it is in the association of Jews with money, with power, or with influence, anti-Semitism is real, and we should stop consuming the smoke and mirrors offered to us by the extreme right and the extreme left, because neither one of them has our best interests at heart. Now, anti-Semitism is real because racism is real as well. And we won't be able to get rid of anti-Semitism if we don't do something about racism as well. We cannot remain indifferent to the situation of people of color in this country, and neither can we remain quiet when immigrants and refugees are mistreated on our borders. We can't denounce with a full voice when Jews are targeted, but stay silent when Muslims or any other groups are the ones to be demonized by those who trade in hate. We just can't. Not only because we know the pain of the exclusion, but also because Judaism's whole enterprise is to work on behalf of a society that doesn't replicate what we have experienced in Egypt when we were slaves back in the day. We are here, Judaism teaches us, to create something different. We are here to shape a society that will fight every day to fulfill the promises of equality and dignity for every citizen of this nation, a society in which everyone will be able to breathe without having to watch their backs at every step of the way. Judaism wants us to be committed to keep walking on this long and winding road, leading to justice and freedom for all. Judaism reminds us that we are all needed if we truly hope to make it into the promised land. Petty politics and the growing polarization between extremists are real. People convinced that they know everything there is to know, and people willing to silence you because they disagree with you are real as well. And so are the voices of those who are looking to restrict the rights of women over their bodies, and of those who are looking to shape America in the image and likeness of a particular religious view that doesn't represent the very real and very multicultural face of this nation. Teenagers feeling invisible and unheard are real. People coping with feelings of loneliness, of hopelessness and helplessness are real. And the many challenges that we are facing and that we will continue to face as individuals, members of this congregation and citizens of this country are real as well. So, what should we do about all of this? How are we going to deal with so many trials and tests all around us? Well, let me tell you what I have been doing when contemplating the unrest that is currently engulfing us. In moments of despair, I have found some real peace of mind by thinking about you, about every one of you. Because you know what? You are real. When you listen to music and when you go for a walk, when you overcome your fears and when you find new ways to make things work out, all of you are real. When you care about those around you and when you feel enraged about the ongoing state of the country, when you volunteer your time and resources in projects and organizations that are close to your heart, and when you refuse to give up, you are real. And more than that, you matter, you are seen, and nobody else can take your place. And so if you are real and I am real, then we have to believe that we can be real as well. And that, as Paul McCartney likes to sing, with a little luck, we may have a fair chance to help it out, to clear it up, and to make a positive difference in this sometimes chaotic world. We have for that to join together to create that type of social capital that we so much need to thrive in our times. You and I, we the people, we the minyan, are called to renew our bonds as a holy congregation, as a community of action and faith, so that we may find the strength and the resilience that we require to overcome the many masks and the many veils, the many trials and the many tests, and everything in this world that continues to be both deceitful and fake. I truly believe that we can overcome, and as once was already said, I believe that we shall overcome. But we can't do that alone. We have to do that together, you and I. According to the Zohar, one of the most important mystical texts ever to be written in the Jewish tradition, Purim received its name because of its connection to Yom Kippurim, Why is that? Because as the Zohar says in Aramaic, the atidin leitanga bei. For in the future, people will get to rejoice on Yom Kippur, and they will be able to transform their afflictions to delight. Today we are dealing with lots of sorrow, and we are struggling with plenty of pain. But with God's help, I know that we shall see better times. Judaism has taught us not only to be a resilient people, but also to always look for ways to get back on our feet as we reclaim our covenant with continuity and with life. In that spirit, may God inspire us to look for what is real. May God grant us the ability to help truth grow strong once again. And may God seal our names and the names of our dear ones in the book of redemption, in the book of sustenance, and in the book of life. Gmar Chatima Tova and Tzom Kal. May we all have an easy and meaningful fast. Amen.